Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing good. Now, today I've got a very exciting and special guest. This one we have sort of planned for a while, but finally we're doing it, and I'm really excited to invite Colleen on my channel to chat about Arsenal. It's really lovely to have you on. Thank you so much for coming on today. How are you doing?
Thank you. No, thank you for having me on. I watched a lot of your videos with the other Arsenal guys as well, so I'm just excited to be part of the part of the guest list. So this is great.
Oh, thank you as well. It's going to be really good to chat a bit about Arsenal now the international break in England's over. And I'm really missing Arsenal. It feels like the longest time since we've played. But I
Mhm.
wanted to start off by maybe just telling people a bit about your journey, how you became an Arsenal fan. I'd love to actually know because I think, it'd be great to hear.
Oh God. So I'm from London, from
Yeah.
East London, and my family they were immigrants to the UK, and they were always London based, and they always supported Arsenal. However, on my dad's side, so my dad's half Jamaican and half Cuban. And some of you will recall when John Barnes made the switch to Liverpool, it was an absolute sensation. And it was a thing where a lot of, not every, but a lot of people went on. So my dad and my brother supported Liverpool. So when I was born, who came into this world, I was all my family supported Arsenal, and my dad and my brother supported Liverpool. And I even had one of their old I remember their old, their old. They had this. Liverpool had a shirt that was red with the collar,
Yeah.
with the box line in the middle. It was like proper from the 90s. I remember putting it on like, and I must have been 3 or 4, and I just didn't take to it. And then
Yeah.
okay, the telly was on, and I saw Dennis Bergkamp. Like, at the time, I didn't realise Dennis Bergkamp. Um, Arsenal playing, and I was like, I want to support Arsenal. And then since then, I fell in and at the time I played football a lot as a young child, and all the boys in my this at the time when a lot of men weren't really into the women's game or
Yeah.
up now, and all of my neighbours, they all played Arsenal as well. We used to play football together. And there was one name that they knew from the women's team, Kelly Smith.
Yeah.
So, that influence of Kelly Smith, seeing Dennis Bergkamp on the telly, that's what made my love of Arsenal.
I love that because a lot of people you hear their stories and they say, "Oh, my dad supported Arsenal, so I supported Arsenal." I mean, do you know what? Mine's quite similar to yours as well because I just, my family, support Liverpool, and I watched Arsenal on the TV like you, and I just, I loved everything about it. So I think it's nice to hear stories that you don't always hear because you hear a lot of the same stories, which is nice. But I think it's nice to hear different ones, really.
Well, I guess for you, you must get a bit of flack with the
Yeah,
outfit saying you support
yeah.
Arsenal. That's
Oh, do you know
that's
what?
a lot.
I think now it's actually quite good because we're in a really good place. Like a few years
Mm.
ago, when they'd beat us 4-0, it was really like embarrassing. Like, what do you say to people when you've lost that badly? It's so tough. But now um, it's better because we beat them more now than we used to. So it's yeah, it wasn't easy growing up, but now it's a good time to be a Gooner and wanted to actually speak about Smith Rowe now because for me, I've heard Crystal Palace are interested in him as well. I don't know if they're going to put a bid in, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on the whole situation, like because I know a few years ago if you said Smith Rowe would leave, I would be like, "You're mad!" Like I couldn't ever imagine it. But now it's sort of like our reality that he probably will leave. So how do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm in two minds about this. I think maybe
Yeah,
many
me
Arsenal
too.
fans are. I mean, my heart is with Smith Rowe. He's one of the boys, one of the Cheyenne lads. He wears the number 10 for Arsenal. I think this is the one player that we've just wanted to will on, even before the Amazon Prime documentary. But I don't know if you remember in the
Mm,
Amazon Prime documentary, we got to have a small little interview where they spoke to Arteta about Smith Rowe, and he's like, as long as he can get it in his mind,
mm,
he can do it. Like he can be successful at this club. And it's just kind of sad that, a couple of seasons ago, he had a really good season for us, then got that injury for almost a whole season and just hasn't been able to get back in the squad.
yeah,
So the talent is there, but I think we also have to remember this is kind of part and parcel of having a successful academy.
yeah,
You're not meant to keep them all. You're meant to, nurture them, produce some good diamonds that you can keep, some superstars. Like, we've got the likes of Saka who've come through our
mm,
academy, but Smith Rowe, if he does fall into the category of you've been amazing, we just can't get you in this squad right now or give you the playing time you need, we can sell you on for 30, 40 million,
Yeah.
and we've done our job essentially. As much as it hurts us fans, I think that's the reality, isn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, there's so many academy players that don't really get into the first team or don't get much of a
Mm,
chance. And Smith Rowe obviously has had to go on loan before, but I feel like for him, he's had his chance. I'm not, we never know. He could come back one day, in a few years' time. But I think right now he's obviously got a few injuries, and I think it probably would be for the best if he moved on. But I'm like you, we all love Smith Rowe. You know how much he loves Arsenal. But yeah, I think it's hard with the academy players because we want to see them a bit more as well. And I know the pre-season's coming up. I mean, how do you feel about pre-season? Because I see it a few different ways. Like,
mm,
if we lose, I'm not gonna, stress about it because the season's not started. But I also feel like it's a good preparation to see where we are. I mean, we've not really signed anyone yet, so it's a bit tough. I know Rice, Saka have come out of Euros final loss, so they're probably a little bit down in the dumps a little bit. I know they'll want to have a good season, but how do you view pre-season? Like, does it mean a lot to you, or yeah, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, when looking at other teams, preseason's fun because you might have
Yeah.
seen earlier today,
Yeah.
Liverpool lost a goal nil, United lost and all that. So when you look at other rivals to
Yeah.
you, it's fun to poke fun at. But in the reality, it doesn't mean an awful lot. I mean, cast our minds
Yeah.
back to about a year ago. We lost to United in pre-season. Well, we went on to that extra time, that silly skills challenge thing as well, that Kai was awful in. Everyone was like, what is going on?
Oh, I remember
Um,
that, yeah.
you can't read too much into pre-season in terms of the results, but what you can see is there any kind of tweaking in tactics? Because a couple of pre-seasons ago, that's when we started to see Ben White in that right back position, and then we started to see little tweaks here and there. So I think it's more for
Yeah.
Arteta to tweak the system and to see if there's any surprises before he puts someone on the for sale shelf.
Yeah, I don't think it means too much right now. I mean, I think it's a good chance to try things you might not necessarily try, in a Premier League game because you can't really risk too much. I think it's a good chance for players maybe like a Jesus, Vieira to sort of have minutes to see what they're like going into the season, but
Mhm.
it's very different when they start in the actual season. So I think for me, I can with you. I think it's a good opportunity for maybe academy players to have that chance that they wouldn't really have. But I think when you see other teams, like Spurs or Liverpool lose, it's always a
Mm,
nice feeling. But I think it's just to prep you going into next season. To be fair, and I wanted to actually get your thoughts on the away kit because
mhm,
it has been, announced yesterday. And do you know what? I put a tweet out and I said, "What's everyone's thoughts on this?" And a big chunk of people didn't like it. I mean, when I saw it, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't love it. I think it's nice, but it's not my favorite away kit. What was your
mm.
initial thoughts when you saw that kit?
I love the story behind it.
Yeah,
Because Arsenal notoriously has been one of the culture leaders, especially for like immigrants who come to the UK or to London, especially being a diverse team
yeah.
historically and around the world. So I love that Pan-Africanism homage, if you like. However, the kit
There's a book
itself,
coming. Yeah.
the kit itself, I'm not a big fan of it. Um, I think it looks a little bit cheap actually.
Yeah,
Um, I'm not a big fan of the new trend of like the kind of plastic ironed on Canon sponsorship logo from Adidas and stuff. I like traditional knitted anyway. I liked it when the press was knitted, the sponsor was knitted. It looks much more classy for me. But I understand with production nowadays. But that aside, I don't know, it just kind of feels a little bit flat for me.
yeah,
So, but I'm sure you'll see it across, August and
yeah.
Carnival weekend, and young kids wear it. Maybe I'm not the actual target audience for this, in terms of the color scheme and the way it looks. But for me, we've definitely had some better away
Yeah.
kits.
I think the kit that I kind of compare it to is that black kit we had, I don't know if it was a season or 2 ago, and I think
Mm,
it is a bit of a downgrade when we've had kits like
mm,
that. I mean, I'm with you, I think it's so hard online because you can go to the shop and you'll feel it, you'll wear it and you think, "Do you know what, it's quite nice," but I think I'd have to see it on the players first, but I don't think it would be a kit that I would buy. I'm honestly so fussy with kits, like, there's
mm,
so many that I see I don't like, and then sometimes when you see the players where it kind of changes your mind on it. But yeah, I'm with you. There's a big chunk of people that
mm,
don't really like it, but then there's lots that really like it. I always love
mm.
hearing everyone's thoughts on it because everyone has so many different thoughts. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, Adidas have set the bar high, so they've
yeah,
spoiled us over the years. So
yeah,
Adidas, we have you to blame,
yeah.
unfortunately.
And then we've had so many amazing kits. Now when you have one that's not so great, it's like, yeah,
Mm,
it's slipping a bit. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see what it looks like on the players. But I know a lot of
mm,
people do like it. And obviously I want to talk about next season because
mm,
for me, last season ended, and honestly, I just feel so ready to go. I mean, I know that we need to bring in some players. I don't feel like we're quite ready to go into the season. I reckon we need like a signing or two. I know we've been linked for a few players, but
mm.
how do you feel about going to next season? Do you think we could win the league? I know that for me, I always say I'd love to win an FA Cup as well. I mean, it's so hard to compete with Man City, and you almost have to be perfect when you're winning the league. So, how are you feeling? Going to the new season?
I mean, extremely optimistic. I mean, we've
Yeah,
only, under Arteta's reign, we've only improved. We've trusted as fans, we've learned to trust the signings more, and we've cast our minds back 3, 4 years ago. We've been questioning a lot of who he brings in, and now we're like, bring in whoever we trust. We know what you're going to
yeah.
do. You've got that Midas touch, that gold dust almost. So I'm really excited for the season. I mean, I don't know about you or anyone else watching, but I was watching some of the states, some of those Euros games and the Copa America games. I was thinking, oh my God, get me Mikel
I
now. I
know
was
the
missing
Caltech ball.
quality,
Yeah, I was
quality
feeling the
football.
same.
And I think because we came so close, I mean, we've come so close 2 seasons now, but
But yeah, it
so
was
close
even
to
more
our
close last
season.
season. Yeah,
Um, there's nothing to. If there's someone who's pessimistic about the season, I'd have to question their mental capacity. You've got to be, should you've got to be up for it. I mean,
yeah.
are you feeling good for it?
Oh, do you know what? I honestly it's so weird because last year I was like, "It's our time," and then it wasn't our time. But yeah, I do feel like we're getting closer, and I think, why not win it? Like, why shouldn't we be able to think that? I mean, Timber's gonna be back as well, which is another bonus because, I really thought he would have been our player of the season last season, and obviously injuries happen, but I just think, yeah, I think we were just so close.
Mm,
Yeah, I think towards the end of the season, I wouldn't say like I didn't feel heartbroken. I felt more proud of the team because I know in recent seasons, during the end of the season, we give up a little bit and we didn't. So I felt like, what, I felt really proud. But I think this season coming up, if we didn't win the league, I would be like, my patience is running thin. I mean, I've never seen us win the league, so I'm like, I really want to see it
oh,
happen. Like,
mm,
I'm like, oh my god, I need it to happen. I know that there's so many positives about the team, but I want to see us win something. I do feel
mm,
though Arteta's probably under a bit of pressure as well because I know we can see the progress that he's made and the signings that he's brought in, but I think when a manager, their legacy will be remembered as well by what they've won. But I always say, an FA Cup would be great to win, but I think this season, yeah, I feel nervous, excited. Yeah, when I was watching the Euros, I completely agree with you. Like, it just made me miss Arteta
mm.
even more. I mean, England for me, watching them just made me feel privileged that at Arsenal we've got it good.
I've got a balcony, and let me tell you how many times I want to fling myself off of it watching some of that Southgate. Oh my God.
And now it was
Um,
like so
but
boring. Like I was falling asleep watching it. And when I watch Arsenal, I'm just like having panic attacks every
mm,
minute because we don't make it easy. Um,
no.
but it's going to be really nice to have the team back, and it'd be amazing to win a league because I know how much the team want it, especially after ending last season. But I wanted to actually ask you a few individual questions about like who do you reckon could be our top goal scorer next season? Like I know obviously at this moment in time we haven't signed anyone, so we could only go on with the players that we have. I mean Havertz as
Mhm.
well coming on the back of last season, he's done pretty well. He's done better than what I thought he did. It's a tough one because I know Martinelli towards the end of the season, he wasn't as good. Jesus didn't play much. I mean, Saka's another great option to pick, but who do you reckon would be our top goal scorer so far?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, because I do believe as well that I don't think we're gonna get an out and out, if that
Yeah,
even exists nowadays, an out and out, striker, and I think that's what Havertz really is
yeah,
gonna be for. So I think it'll be between Havertz and Saka, and I
mhm,
think, now Havertz has spent a year under Arteta, has got, his confidence should be back now. He had a really good
yeah,
season for us, despite, the stuttering starts at the beginning. And Arteta clearly trusts him, whether it's in that number 9 front or on the flank
yeah.
or playing that dreaded left 8 role everyone bangs on about. I think he could have a good possibility for it. I do think he needs to be a bit more clinical, but I
Oh
think the
yeah.
safest choice is Saka. I mean, he can only get better and better, and it's still crazy to say he's still so young. He's still so young. He feels like he's been around forever,
I
you know?
know, yeah, it's crazy to think. I think Saka's sort of, in a way, he's had like a smooth journey with Arsenal. He's through the academy. I think he got lucky, but he deserved that as well,
Mm,
given these opportunities. I do agree. I think Saka's always the one that you pick because he's very consistent. You know what to expect from him. But obviously, I don't really think we'll sign a striker. Like I've said, I
mhm,
think we need one. I mean, I know we're not desperate for one. There are other positions like left back, midfield, maybe, but I've always said, having a striker would really help us. I mean, especially in those games that we really struggle in, and in the Champions League. But yeah, I think with the squad now, I think you'd have to go Saka. I mean, Havertz as well. I watched him for Germany in Euros, and I just felt like he missed so many chances. Like he did have a
yeah,
good tournament, but I felt like
mhm,
at Arsenal, if he was doing that in the big games, I would be concerned. But
yeah,
I think Havertz is sort of like a confidence player in a way. I think when he came to Arsenal, I don't think he had much confidence.
mm, mhm.
But then gradually his confidence grew. So I really hope, we can see that next season. And I know that throughout the season we had so many important players. Like I can't even tell you my first important player that I'd pick because I could, name so many. But which player next season do you think will prove to be our most important player in the team?
Oh, that's a tough question.
I know there's
Uh,
so many. Yeah, it's so.
I think, I mean, because I think each year it's kind of changed a little bit. The season before last, we would have said Saliba because of what eventually happened once he did get injured. You're like, okay, he definitely is our most important
Yeah,
player. When you look at the likes of Saka, where we don't have anyone coming in for him, and he like, well, as good as him. No disrespect to Reece Nelson. Um,
yeah,
being so clinical, he gets the goals for us. But I have two players. I have 2 or 3 in mind. I don't know if I could pick one. I'm
yeah, as
thinking
well.
of the likes of, I mean, Ødegaard, he is our captain. I mean, so I
Yeah,
kind of feel like saying he's the most important. I feel like he should be judged a little bit harsher because he is the captain.
yeah.
He's the captain. It should go without saying. Mr. Consistent Ben White, I mean,
Oh
been
yeah,
playing through injuries. He's just Mr. Reliable in that sense. But I do suspect it'll be a big season for Declan. He had a phenomenal season last season, really good season. No one talks about his price tag. But I know a lot of us now are looking at, our midfield probably does need to strengthen. We don't know whether he'll be the 6 or the 8 or depending on the game, a 6 or an 8 and shift in between. But he's someone that everyone's looking to be another leader within that squad. And I do
yeah.
think now we're in a bit of trouble. So I'm looking at someone towards Declan, take some of the heat off of Saka and Saliba for a change.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, like you said, there's so many that I think. I mean, for me, last season, I think Gabrielle was amazing at the back. I know Saliba has been amazing, but we are starting to see Gabrielle get more praise now, and
Mm,
I just can see him having, an even better season. I think he was amazing, and I think he's at his best game right now. I think as well, when I asked you this question, the first player that did come into my mind was Ben White because I just feel like, like you said, he was playing for injuries and he was still playing really good. Like he was giving you 8 out of 10 performances, even though that he wasn't at his best. And I
mhm,
think as well, him having a bit of a break from football is probably maybe a good thing. Like I know for England, it would be nice to see him play, but I didn't, I wasn't too bothered because it's only a good thing for him to have a
Wrap them up in
rest.
cotton wool. Wrap
Yeah,
them
I'm
up in
literally
cotton wool.
like, if you don't want to play, fair enough. Like, just stay safe for Arsenal coming back. So yeah, I wasn't too fussed really.
Mhm.
I think with Saka and Rice, I always hope that they don't get injured because I know if like Rice gets injured, then our midfield is honestly like a big problem. And
Yeah.
Saka, I think you can see when Saka hasn't played in the team, we just look very
Mm,
different. And I know
mm,
people might blame Saka sometimes for not scoring as much, but he does really. This team is he's a big part of this team. So I think the most important players. I think there's so many, isn't there? I mean, like you said, Odegaard as well. I think he had a very good season. But yeah, I think they're all very important in so many ways. I think it's going to be a really good season. I'm really really excited. It's so hard to kind of ask this question because I know that we've not signed anyone, and you could answer this with who we've signed. But are there
yeah.
any players that you think that might do better than what you thought? Because it's hard going
Mhm,
to season because I always hope the players we have will have a good season, but I
mhm,
suppose maybe it'd be good to see players like a Vieira, Jesus to have a better season because I know people have wrote them both off. I mean, personally, I'm not too sure on them either. I know Sinchenko as well. I'm not too sure on his future, but I think for me, if they had a much better season, I hope then I'd be really happy with that.
no, no, as soon as you said that, the first person who came to my mind was Vieira,
Yeah,
because once he did get, at the beginning of last season when he had that little run of games and he was playing well, it's like great. Then he got injured, and it's just like, oh, we just kind of need him to kick on a little bit, if he wants to have any meaningful part of this squad, let alone the first 11.
yeah,
So he's one I would really like to. For me, Jesus, I love the kid. I'll never forget his first game against Crystal Palace away and the pink kit.
yeah.
Great. However, I know he's had a load of injuries. I know, but his numbers in comparison to Havertz, it's a bit
Yeah, it's not.
embarrassing. He
Yeah,
needs if he is with us for this season, this is like do or die. He really needs to have a good season for us. Otherwise, I can't see him lasting much longer.
yeah.
Or us doing anything as
Do
well.
you
It
know
goes
what?
hand in hand.
Vieira is such a weird one because I remember I think it was the United game where Declan Rice scored the winner, and I think Vieira, actually I can't remember which game it was, but he made a really good pass forward to Jesus, and I thought, if we saw that a bit more often, then there'd be a reason for him to stay. And I know that it's so hard. We've got these players that always gets injured as well. He's had a lot of injuries, but I also do see something in him. So I
Mhm.
wouldn't mind if Arteta wanted to keep him, but I think if we don't see enough from him next season, then
Mm.
I think you would, want to sort of do something about that. I mean, Zinchenko, like, what are your thoughts on him? Because for me, if he left, I wouldn't cry about it. Really, like at one point he really changed our club and he was so important. But obviously, football changes, and at the moment, I don't feel like he is very important on the pitch. He doesn't really play much. I mean, just tell me a bit about how you feel about his situation at Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, and he's also become a bit of a fan divider with his own personal
Yeah.
issues and stuff. But listen, I think the biggest compliment I can pay Zinchenko is that we've now moved past him at the rate that no one would have expected. When him and Jesus came in, whether it was mentality and the
Mm.
quality of the pitch, they really raised our game. And of course, our first glimpses of the inversion from left back. But now that we're a more complete squad and
Yeah.
11, he just doesn't quite cut the mustard anymore. And it's because as well we've changed as a club and as a squad and our ambitions in how quickly we've
Mm.
gone on from it. He's also got a bit older and he's got a little bit more competition now, and fine margins. It really is about fine margins, and it's excellent going forwards. But defensively, there's only so much that you can take from a defender,
Yeah.
no matter if you're inverting or not. So I wouldn't be sad if he went. I know there's a few rumors of like Californian coming in,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't be sad if thank you for what you've done,
Yeah.
but if he left, it's a warm goodbye. But if he stays, I think he will have to accept that he will not be necessarily nailed on first name on the team sheet anymore.
Yeah, I think, I think if any of these players, stayed, obviously we'd all support them. I mean, I think with Zinchenko, I don't mind him playing really. I mean, the midfield option's quite interesting because he can play
Mhm,
there. I don't know if Arteta's ever played in there. I don't think he has. But in the
mhm,
preseason games, I think if you're going to keep Zinchenko, maybe test it out then. If we're
mhm,
not, I mean, we could bring a midfielder in anyway, but it's good to have him as a kind of a backup option. So I think if Arteta wanted to keep him, I just don't want him at left back. It's hard
mhm,
because we know going forward how much he offers, and at one point, he would be that player on the team sheet that I would get so excited about. But I just think defensively, like you said, it's a bit of a problem. I know Tierney's, has been on loan. I reckon Tierney will probably go somewhere else. So
yeah,
the left back position is obviously one that we do need to work on. And I did want to. I actually got a question for us for the show, and
mhm.
honestly, I know my answer straight away. I want to see what you think about it.
Okay.
But someone said, if Calafiori came in and we got a bid of 100 million for Gabrielle, would you take
Mhm.
it? Go first. Tell me what you think.
Uh, I mean, Gabrielle's one of my favorite players
Yeah,
in the
me
Arsenal.
too.
So my heart would be no, but in realistically, if 100 million income from Gabrielle, I'd expect the club probably would take that. I'm not going to
It's
lie
a
to
lot
you.
of yeah, it's a lot of money.
They
That's
probably
sort of
would.
what we paid for Declan Rice. Yeah.
But let's. I hope that he doesn't have another distraction like the beginning of last season when there was a Saudi bid potentially on his
Yeah, I
way and
remember
stuff.
that.
We don't
Yeah.
we don't need any of that. So that when I heard that, it just gave me shades back to the beginning of last season. I don't think anyone would offer 100 million for him, but if they did, I mean, listen, it is what it is. But I mean, he's one of my favorite. He's like my top three
Yeah.
in the 11 for sure. So with my heart, he stays, but with my Arsenal financial brain, we would have he would probably have to go, but it caused more problems than it's worth. But
Yeah.
Gabriel, that doesn't mean I want Gabriel at all. Absolutely not. He's one of the first names in the team sheet for sure.
Yeah, and you know what? It made me think of something. I remember throughout the Euros, I saw,
Mm,
Saliba being linked to Madrid, and I thought to myself, if we ever had to get rid of Saliba or Gabriel, which one would you get rid of? And I was really thinking about this, and it's so tough because they're both so good in their different ways. They're
mm,
similar
mhm.
and they're both good at their job, but
Each other very nicely.
I was just thinking, like, which one would you rather keep? Like, for you, it's so hard because Saliba's been on loan. We've seen him come back, and he's been perfect. And then you look at the journey Gabriel's had, and he's had to play with defenders at the team that haven't really been at his level, and that's not helped
Mhm.
him. And you see how far we've come with Gabriel. Like, which one would you think is the most important? Because it's obviously tough to answer.
I think my heart is with Gabrielle. My heart is
Yeah,
with Gabrielle, but my head, and we're looking at it more clinically and cynically. Saliba's the younger one, and
yeah,
I think has more of a higher ceiling per se. But my heart would be with Gabrielle. I just love his journey with Arsenal.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
just
I
such a
was,
likable
yeah.
guy and leader in the squad.
Yeah, I think it's so hard. I mean, I think with both of them, I look at them and I think, you can't replace those type of players.
Mm,
I think it'd be harder to replace Saliba, but I do agree with you. I think Gabriel for me, I think I think he could be a good captain as well one day, and we've seen him grow. So I think, yeah, I definitely pick that. But you know what, we're so lucky as well to be
mhm.
blessed with these defenders. I mean, the team we've got now. I mean, look at us lockdown time. I was talking about this with someone the other day, and I just think I honestly didn't think we would ever get out of that place. Like,
Mm. I remember during the Emery era, and this is no like disrespect to Unai. He is a great manager, but we all know what we went through under Unai towards the end, especially. But I remember us getting knocked out of the Europa League, one of his
oh,
final matches
yeah,
against Frankfurt. It was me and my best mate who were sitting in the Emirates, and like we just sat there for like 30, 45 minutes looking at each other, being like almost welling up, and like when is this gonna end? When is this gonna end? And then in a relatively small space of time, look where we've come to be blessed with some of our players
yeah,
who were there then, and the new ones we brought in, elevated level. So I'm glad that we can have these conversations and not the ones we were having a few years ago.
I know, yeah, it's really weird, like, especially when you watch the All or Nothing documentary.
Mm,
Like, I think, it's when you watch it back, at the time we'll had our thoughts on everything, but it's yeah, it's so weird. Like, it's nice to see a lot of these players, it's like a Gabrielle that were there through that with us and have come, this far. And I think, it makes me really want them to win,
mm,
trophies, especially the league, because they really stuck with us through the difficult times. And
mhm,
I'm pretty sure at one point Gabrielle might have been linked to United. I'm pretty sure, and he's chosen us. It's a nice feeling that players still want to come here, but it
mhm,
is crazy because I remember at one point I really thought we were gonna get relegated. I was like, I just couldn't cope. But it is really nice to look back as well. I mean, like you said before, with signings, like if Arteta, if Eddie brought anyone in, I would feel confident that they would be good
mhm.
enough for me. And Tommy Asu for me is a good example because when we
Um,
signed him, I'm not gonna lie, I know at the time we were probably gonna look at Emerson and it was all a bit up in the air.
mm.
And we signed Tommy Asu and I wasn't too sure on him, and then he's become one of my favourite signings. I mean, who would you say has been your favourite Arteta signing? I know obviously Gabriel's up there, but if you had to pick anyone else.
Oh, I do like the Tomiyasu shout because he is really
Yeah.
Mr. Well, when he's fit,
Yeah, he's
he's
done it so much.
when he's
Yeah.
um God, well, I mean, I don't know, does Erdegaard, well, I guess Erdegaard does count.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't feel as nice because it was a loan, kind of, a 1 month of limbo, and then we signed him actually, and then he's our club captain now. And you got the likes of Rice and Ben White. I mean, I could be
Yeah.
tempted to say Ben White, but because Erdegaard is our captain and he's the
Yeah.
heartbeat of this team, I'm gonna say Erdegaard.
I remember when Odegaard went back off loan and he left, and I just, do you know what? With loan players, I never get detached or too upset. But when he left, I felt really like gutted. And then when
Mhm,
he came back, I just felt like it was the right thing for him as well in
mhm,
his career because he's been at great teams like Madrid, but it's never really worked out for him, and it felt like this was the right thing for him. And it's really nice to see the players grow. I mean, Ben White's a good one as well because I remember we signed him. People were like 50 million. That's a lot for him. And you know what? To be honest, like I don't care because it's not our money, is it? So why does it matter how much he is?
No, no,
um,
no, and the same vein with Erdegaard, because he wasn't the player that we have now. He was a little bit
yeah,
inconsistent, and everyone was like, "Oh, Erdegaard or Maddison." And now, if we're comparing Erdegaard and Maddison, they'd be saying, "You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. Erdegaard
yeah, like
is shoulders above."
do you know what? At the time, Madison was actually really good. I know he's
Mm,
still good, but he's obviously went through injuries. But at that time, I would love Madison, and
mm.
now, like, I wouldn't want him now because we've got everything that we need. Odegaard has definitely come a long way since then. But yeah, it's always good to reflect on these things and look back on this. But I just wanted to say a big thank you to you for coming on my channel because it's been so much fun. I'll definitely have you on again soon, but I really appreciate you coming on.
No, thank you for having me. It's been great to talk about the Arsenal, which it feels like we haven't barely said Arsenal's name
Yeah.
in like 6 months. It's been cool. Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're very welcome. Feels amazing when the team will be back. It'll be great to deal with all the stress of being an Arsenal fan again. But yeah,
Mm,
it's what makes us Gooners. But yeah, it'd be good to have
thank
them
you.
back. I hope all of you as well that have watched this back have enjoyed it. But before we do go, do you want to just tell people where they can give you a follow or find you on social media?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me across all social media under Colleen Shay. I'm normally bouncing around many, many different channels, to be honest with you. However, in the next upcoming season, I will be doing my own content in English and in Spanish as well for the
I love
Premier
that.
League. So keep an eye out if you want. But yeah, at Colleen Shay across all of the social media platforms.
I love that. It's amazing. It's really nice to see you do your own show soon. And yeah, please do give Colleen a follow. But like I said, thank you all so much for watching this. Please do hit the like button, do subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.